Evening, babies. This is Bill. I want to read you a piece I wrote some years back. It's called Lessons from a Zambian Road. And I wrote this piece after a trip I took to Lusaka, Zambia in Central Africa. And it was my first and still only trip to Africa. It was an ordinary business trip, and those of us traveling together were excited and apprehensive because we didn't know what to expect. I had studied Africa fairly extensively, and that was my part of the trip. But for the most part, if you've traveled, you will find the reality and the idea of a place are not as closely related as you may think. But what was striking about Africa was that it was precisely what I had expected, and yet startlingly different. So as we left the airport on Lusaka's main highway into the city, which is the capital of the country, we were in a rickety cab, darting and dodging around potholes as if we were in some dry land slalom in a deathmobile. And on either side of the road, people were walking. Women, children, but mostly women, carrying pots, as you've seen, or bundles of sticks, and that was exciting to see in person. But then it occurred to all of us that there were more people walking along this highway than driving on it. And at that very moment, I realized until that point, I had never really seen poverty. And the face of poverty is dramatically different than you might think. Poverty doesn't sit on the side of the road whining and begging for money. Poverty isn't focused on that which it doesn't have. The true face of poverty is too busy trying to make it to worry about things like that. They're grateful for what they do have and thankful to God for the opportunity to make their living. See, those who survive know what matters in life is what you have, not what you're missing. Lessons from a Zambian Road. Lesson 1. Wood. The breath of life is borne by head, or a dusty road some 6 miles long, no tools but those which God has made, to find and gather precious wood. Then tortured, crippling spinal crush of 20, 30 kilos worn like headdresses of precious cash to bring one day's survival home. Lesson 2. Water. Along a dingy potholed street, the women wear their earthen crowns, 3 hours out, 3 hours back, and dare not spill a precious drop. Then boil, store, and cook and wash, so children might survive the day with dirty smiles and happy hopes that God might one day lift them up. Lesson 3. Reality check. They know their God and know Him well. He carries them on dirty roads when back should break and feet should fail. He finds them scraps of food to eat, and we, the mighty wealthy few, proclaim our faith and celebrate, and do His work by leaving church, and them to die in poverty. Lesson 4. Conclusion. This quiet day we make a vow to turn the tide and find the way to save not souls for Christian graves, but bodies, hopes, and future smiles. There is no neutral, sacred ground where we may sit in ignorance. Impoverished lands have people there, and God judges indifference. Peace, babies. Love.